look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he gotta be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. He gotta show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like 3 million. There's watches that are 3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts.
Joe Rogan didn't exactly whisper his doubts when Floyd Mayweather's real estate claims came up. He practically leaned over the podcast table and said, "Hold on, that math doesn't add up."
And one of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed. Like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but when I'll show you, when I'll show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds. It's like $5 million. And so you hate him.
And that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from a individual, from a billionaire that had a 9% interest on the loan.
Rogan questioned the entire narrative around Floyd, saying he owns dozens of buildings worth tens of millions, pointing out that flashy claims and verified assets are two very different things.
To the IRS, how much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to
It's
pay.
neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money. There's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Congrats.
And that's where the conversation gets spicy, because Floyd built the entire Money Mayweather persona on the idea of limitless wealth, stacks of cash, luxury watches, and a financial empire that seemed untouchable. But reports circulating in the business world paint a more complicated picture.
That Floyd Mayweather is made, and because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost, that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career in just earnings from fight.
According to Business Insider, 2 of Mayweather's commercial properties have already faced foreclosure, and there were even reports that his Las Vegas strip club building risked being seized over unpaid property taxes. Add to that lawsuits claiming unpaid luxury watch and jewelry bills, something Floyd is pushed back against, and suddenly the conversation turns from bragging rights to financial scrutiny.
They said that, I mean, things that they said in this article were insane. That Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan.
The outlet also noted that 2 Trump Las Vegas condos were temporarily seized for unpaid taxes before being returned after a payment, while a massive $54 million loan reportedly used his homes, private jet, and businesses as collateral. Whether exaggeration or misunderstanding, the gap between the money image and these reports has definitely fueled debate. That whole Joe Rogan skepticism about Floyd's financial empire had already set the conversation wobbling a bit. But then Chael Sonnen storms into the discussion like a guy who just grabbed the microphone and decided subtlety is overrated. Chael basically looks at the entire "Is Floyd broke?" headline and goes, "Why are we even pretending this is shocking?"
What's wrong with that? And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd Mayweather? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. Did they say he can't read? That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing gym, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke.
He literally flips the question back on the audience, saying, if you wake up and go to work every week because you need money, why would it suddenly be strange for a boxer to keep fighting for the same reason? And I'm sitting here thinking, that's peak Chael logic. Half brutal honesty, half troll energy. But he doesn't stop there. Chael starts dismantling the mythology around boxing paydays, pointing out that the billion-dollar earnings numbers and those gigantic pay-per-view claims often come from press releases rather than publicly confirmed financial records, when he says nobody from the companies actually processing the pay-per-views has verified those absurd figures. That line alone throws a grenade into years of boxing hype narratives. He even goes as far as saying he's a gambling addict. He's got baby mamas all over the place. What do you mean, is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question.
He's a gambling addict. He's got baby mamas all over the way. What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check?
At the same time, Chael isn't just roasting Floyd. He's roasting the entire sport's financial storytelling. Then he pivots into the contract chaos, pointing out how Floyd announcing multiple fights around the supposed Tyson matchup would drive any promoter insane. Because in the fight business, timing and exclusivity are everything. And that's where the irony hits hard. Chael notes Floyd accusing Showtime of shady business practices.
And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic.
While critics accuse Floyd's own promotion of similar confusion with Logan Paul, suddenly the narrative becomes a hall of mirrors where everyone thinks someone else is the villain. Yet, here's the funny contradiction Chael unintentionally highlights. People can question Floyd's finances, doubt the paydays, argue about contracts, or roll their eyes at exhibitions. But the second Mayweather's name appears on a fight poster, the entire combat sports world still stops and pays attention.
Mayweather owes Logan Paul $1.3 million. No, he doesn't. Just to clear that up, no, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Allegedly, by the way.
Chael Sonnen already tossed gasoline on the whole Floyd might be broke conversation. But then Jason Whitlock and that panel jump in, and the discussion suddenly turns into a full-blown roundtable of financial detectives, and I'm sitting there like, wow, we've officially gone from fight analysis to forensic accounting with boxing gloves on. Whitlock starts the whole thing by leaning into Shannon Sharpe and O'Shea's theory that Floyd unretiring is basically about chasing a massive payday. And the moment those names like Canelo, Manny Pacquiao, and Terrence Crawford start getting thrown around, you can feel the business angle immediately. Shannon is saying those are the only fights that could generate the type of money Floyd might want. That's not just speculation. That's basically the celebrity super fight menu. But then Whitlock jumps in with that Rocky movie reference, why do you fight? And suddenly the conversation turns philosophical in the funniest way possible.
Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can have that can command and get the kind of money he's looking to recoup for money that may have been lost, or money that may have been stolen, or money he may have spent, to date. For one, a rematch with Canelo. That's one fight.
Canelo too big.
Listen to me, Unc. We talk about making that money. He ain't gonna have no choice.
Because, yeah. But Floyd built an entire brand around the idea that money equals success, literally changing from pretty boy to money. And Whitlock points out the brutal irony. When your entire image is built on wealth, any rumor about financial trouble becomes a headline hurricane. Then Dre adds a more grounded angle saying, the real issue isn't what Floyd earned. It's what we don't know about liquidity, assets, liabilities, taxes, lifestyle. Basically, the financial iceberg under the flashy Instagram photos. Meanwhile, the panel throws in jokes about gamblers going broke, IRS bills, luxury spending, and suddenly Floyd's career looks less like a victory lap and more like a complicated puzzle. Yet here's the part that makes me laugh. While half the panel is questioning the logic of watching a nearly 50-year-old fighter step back into the ring, the other half quietly admits something every fight fan knows deep down. If Floyd Mayweather actually announces a fight with someone like Crawford, Canelo, or even Pacquiao again, everybody arguing about it right now will still be watching when the bell rings.
$1 billion and he's 47 years old and he's completely broke. He's won the prize. This is, of all the idiots that we've seen out there, celebrities, actors, entertainers that have lost a lot of money, this guy would take the cake. To blow a bill before he even hits 50 is unimaginable. It actually is sad. It's a cautionary tale. We have seen it time and time again. But who actually wants to watch this guy fight? Like, people that love him. If he comes out and what if he loses and looks terrible and gets destroyed? Well, look, if you love him or hate him, you can say, well, he's nearly 50 years old. This doesn't prove it.
Whitlock and that panel already turned the Floyd comeback story into a financial courtroom drama. But then Andre Ward slides into the conversation and the tone changes immediately from hot take speculation to fighter-level reflection. And honestly, that contrast hits different. Ward basically opens by reminding everyone he's always respected Floyd's work ethic. And I'm nodding because that part often gets lost when people only focus on the flash. Ward says the glitz, the cars, the jets, all of that was part of the Mayweather brand. But underneath it, there was always a gym rat who never skipped the grind. And when Ward admits he's torn about this comeback, you can feel the honesty there because he's not attacking Floyd like the rumor mill has been doing. He's saying something deeper. Boxing becomes part of your identity. When Ward explains that the adrenaline, the attention, the massive fight night checks create a feeling that regular life can't replicate.
Part of that is because of the way Floyd Mayweather goes about his business. He's been filthy rich. He's made his name, his legacy, and a lot of his reputation wasn't just the boxing, it was the money. It's the money man. What I have, what I'm driving, what I'm living in, what I'm flying in. And a lot of people, they don't like that. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather had more supporters for most of his fights or more haters. But regardless of where you fall on that line, Floyd Mayweather made it work for him when many people, promoters included, networks included, early on didn't think that he can do.
That's the kind of insight only a former champion can deliver. Then he pivots to the Pacquiao rematch, and suddenly, the analyst in me wakes up again. Ward points out something interesting. Older fighters sometimes create more action because they can't rely on constant movement like they once did. Less foot speed, more exchanges, and that idea alone flips the narrative people keep repeating about this fight being automatically boring. But the tension Ward keeps circling back to is the real danger of age. Your mind still thinks you're the same fighter while your body quietly disagrees. That line alone explains half the tragedies boxing has ever seen. Yet, even while Ward admits he'd prefer both legends relaxing on a beach somewhere enjoying retirement, he also admits curiosity wins again. Because when two icons with unfinished history step back into the ring, the entire fight world watches whether we plan to or not.
Gonna watch a fighter, he'll say he don't watch him, but he'll watch any potential opponent over and over and over, and he has to process, can he do anything with me? How does my skill set line up with his? Can I beat him? The problem with being 49 years of age is sometimes your brain can see things and tell you things that your body's not in agreement with. That's the problem with age. Your brain is still saying, I'm him. Your brain is still saying, man, I'm Money Mayweather. Man, these youngsters can't deal with me. But your body is saying, brother, we can't do it like that anymore.
And when you step back and look at this whole situation from a distance, it honestly feels like four completely different realities colliding at the same time. Joe Rogan is questioning the financial empire narrative. Chael Sonnen is ripping apart the mythology of boxing paydays. Whitlock's panel is dissecting the business and lifestyle side of the story. And then Andre Ward comes in with the fighter perspective, reminding everyone that this sport gets into your DNA in a way money alone can't replace. One side of the debate says Floyd's comeback is about chasing another massive payday. Another side says the financial rumors are exaggerated gossip. And Ward's take quietly reminds us that sometimes fighters return because the spotlight, the competition, and the adrenaline are things normal life just can't recreate. That's the real tension here. Legacy versus longevity, business versus passion. And whether people believe Floyd is chasing money, chasing history, or just chasing that feeling of being Money Mayweather again, the truth is, the conversation itself proves his influence. Because look around. Everyone is debating, arguing, analyzing every angle of this comeback. And that's exactly the gravitational pull legends have on the sport.
That's the struggle, and that's the danger of coming back at this age. So part of me wants to see these guys continue to make money. Part of me wants to see these guys, how do they do it at this age? Man, show me something. Show me how your mind can overtake the deficiencies you may have in your body at your age. But the deeper part of me, man, I want to see Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao on a beach somewhere, living off the fruits of their labor, helping the game however they see fit to help the game, and just watching the next generations do what they do. But hey, we got to fight September 19th.
Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Floyd Mayweather's return is about money, love for the sport, or unfinished legacy business with Manny Pacquiao? Drop your take in the comments. Let's really talk about it. And yo, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next one.